Hallo, hallo en welkom bij week 4. Week 4 alweer. Wij gaan naar de supermarkt en wij gaan boodschappen doen. Ik leer jou hoe jij boodschappen kunt doen. Wat je moet weten en wat jij kan zeggen in de supermarkt. Little recap. Welcome to week 4. We're going to discuss everything food related, grocery shopping, knowing how to make your grocery list, and knowing what to say and do in a supermarket. But before that, I am going to put you up for a little challenge. I am going to ask you questions in Dutch. I want you to pause the video and create an answer yourself first. Doesn't matter that it's wrong, doesn't matter that you don't know for sure, but write down what you think you can answer to my question. All right, so these are questions from the last 3 weeks. Okay, you've had them, you can nail this. I will say it once fast and I will say it once slow. Then you have the opportunity to pause it and really write this sentence down. And I recommend it so much because this is your practice. The more you are in tune of doing this, the better it will be. So pause it, write down your answer, then play it again, where I will be explaining the answer. I will write down the question as well. And then I can write down a possible answer. Okay? Laten we beginnen. Vraag 1. Wie is jouw moeder? Wie is jouw moeder? De vraag is, wie is jouw moeder? Wie is jouw moeder betekent, who is your mother, right? So ik wil een naam horen. So ik kan zeggen, mijn moeder heet, and then fill in the name. To another person, I can never say is. My mother is. No. You can only say that about yourself. Ik ben Joyce, maar mijn moeder is niet Joyce, right? My moeder heet Joyce, if I wanted to say that. So hate is when we refer mostly to what another person is called. You might have written down this one, which is correct as well. De naam van mijn moeder is. Mijn moeder's naam is an option, but technically it's not Dutch. It's a literal translation of English. So these two options are your grammatical correct answer. Okay, volgende. Hoe gaat het? Hoe gaat het? Write it down. Hoe gaat het? And possible answer could be, het gaat goed. Be super duper mindful that you don't say, ik ben goed. Again, it's not the same thing. It's saying, I'm good at something. Okay, keep that in mind. Het gaat niet goed, for example. Yeah. Next one. Wat wil jij eten? Wat wil jij eten? Wat wil jij eten? Then I could say, ik wil frietjes eten. Okay, so whatever you want to eat, you put that in the middle. Okay, so feel free to translate it or go back to some of the foods if you can't remember. The reason why we put it in here is because ik is subject, wil is the first verb, eten is the second verb. So anything in between has to go before the last verb. So keep that in mind. Het is niet ik wil eten frietjes. Het is ik wil frietjes eten. Okay. One more question. De vraag is... wat vind jij leuk? Wat vind jij leuk? Wat vind jij leuk? Again, similar construction to wat wil jij eten? Make sure you reuse these words as you go. A possible answer could be, ik vind fietsen leuk. Just like this phrase, plaats je de fietsen, whatever you like, in between. As like is part of the verb construction leuk vinden, which is how we express what we like. So these are a couple of options. I hope you've done well, or at least that you were able to understand my question, which is already such a step ahead. Now let's move into our supermarket. All right. Okay, we gaan praten over supermarkten. And before we really dive into what we can do in supermarkets, I just quickly wanted to run through the Dutch supermarkets in general. Notice as well that with supermarket, we don't have that either. It's marked. So one syllable, supermarkt. And if you haven't been in Nederland before, then these might be completely new to you, apart from maybe the Aldi and the Lidl, which are a bit more globally known. De Aldi en de Lidl zijn Duits. Duitse supermarkten uit Duitsland. So Germany. Dit is de Albert Heijn. De Albert Heijn is de populairste supermarkt van Nederland. Oké? De Albert Heijn is de populairste supermarkt van Nederland. De meeste supermarkten in Nederland zijn de Albert Heijn. Daarna de Jumbo. De Jumbo is de tweede grootste en populairste supermarkt van Nederland. De Lidl en de Aldi zijn goedkoop, niet veel geld. En Dirk, Spar, Plus en de Co-op zijn middelsupermarkten. The Co-op is probably the most expensive supermarket, to be honest. But these are kind of like medium supermarkets. They're not always around. They don't have them anywhere. Whereas Lidl, Aldi, Albert Heijn, and Jumbo are supermarkets that you definitely have in any big city. And probably also like one of them each in larger towns. Yeah, however, in smaller villages, you might also just see these ones because they're a bit more local or central to that specific area. So if you have been to the Netherlands, you might know these ones. And you can actually answer this question. Now, if you haven't been to the Netherlands, als je niet naar Nederland bent geweest, zeg deze vragen over jouw land. So if you haven't been to the Netherlands, I would like you to answer these questions about the supermarkten in jouw land, your country. Okay, so let's try that. Okay. Welke supermarkten ken je? Kennen is a way how we refer to know. So, welke supermarkten ken je? And obviously, ken is the verb So if we want to say, I know blah, 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 you can easily make the sentence. For example, ik ken de Albert Heijn, you know? Or als je in Australië woont, de Coles. Of als je in, God, I forgot the name there. I wanted to say, if you live in the US, there's other supermarkets, but other than Target, I kind of lost the supermarkets there. But you know my point. Then, next question, vraag 2. Naar welke supermarkten ga jij? Again, write this down. Maar een antwoord kan zijn, ik ga naar de Aldi en de Woolworths, for example. Ja? Then, de vraag is, hoe vaak ga jij naar de supermarkt? Dat is tijd. Hoe vaak? 1 dag per week? Elke dag? Right? So there's different options. You can say, ik ga elke dag naar de supermarkt. Ik ga 1 keer per week naar de supermarkt. So here, subject, verb, then the time. So this is where you can fill out how often you go to the supermarket, right? So this is where you add your time. And then the location naar de supermarkt. Welke supermarkt vind je goed en welke niet? Now, this is a bit of a advanced, trickier question, but I'm going to challenge you to answer this question anyways, to just up-level yourself, right? Don't be afraid to try, okay? So try and make your own sentence. And you can use Google Translate as well. I recommend just not to be confused about the sentence structure right now, to use want as your because. So that means because. This is because you can keep the sentence structure the same as like this. So you have 2 sentences. I find the Albert Heijn really good because they've got amazing products, right? So I can say because they have amazing products. Keep that order. Whereas if I use omdat, it changes, and we'll leave that for another lesson. So I'm actually going to translate this sentence. So ik vind, you copy it from there. De Albert Heijn. Also, I'm going to change it into the appie because that's how we refer to the Albert Heijn in conversational Dutch. So if you ever hear somebody say the appie, ik ben naar de appie geweest, and you go like, what the hell is the appie? That's the Albert Heijn. So ik vind de appie goed, want ze hebben goede producten. Right? So they have good products. Amazing. Now, again, keep in mind with whatever your answer is, so you can copy this with the supermarket of choice. Then you can say because they have, or they, whatever verb. You can keep that one here and then add what it is that you like about it. So keep it nice and short and sweet. Okay. Now, next up is naar de supermarkt. So this is a listen and repeat exercise, right? At the same time, I want you to try and translate these sentences the other way around. So this time, I'm just going to go and read the sentences, and I'm going to let you try and translate these as you go. So use common logic, You know we're at the supermarket. It's very chronological, so keep that in mind. I'll read one sentence at a time. You can pause the video to repeat it. Um, I'll read it slow first, and then I'll read it fast. After we've done the whole conversation, we will then nail down each sentence as I give you hints as well. Okay, let's try. Ik ga naar de supermarkt met de auto. Ik ga naar de supermarkt met de auto. Ik neem een kratje mee en mijn portemonnee. Ik neem een kratje mee en mijn portemonnee. In de supermarkt pak ik een karretje. In de supermarkt pak ik een karretje. Ik begin bij de groente- en fruitafdeling. Ik begin bij de groente- en fruitafdeling. Ik doe wat banaan en sla in mijn karretje. Ik doe wat banaan en sla in mijn karretje. Ook staat er vlees op mijn boodschappenlijstje. Ook staat er vlees op mijn boodschappenlijstje. Ik loop naar de vleesafdeling en doe kip en vis in mijn karretje. Ik loop naar de vleesafdeling en doe kip en vis in mijn karretje. Ook pak ik wat melk en yoghurt. Ook pak ik wat melk en yoghurt. Dat is alles. Dat is alles. Ik ga naar de kassa en reken af. Ik ga naar de kassa en reken af. Ik moet 30 euro betalen. Ik moet 30 euro betalen. Ik stop mijn boodschappen in de kratjes. Ik stop mijn boodschappen in de kratjes. Ik krijg 1 bon van de kassaverkoopster en loop de supermarkt uit. Ik krijg een bon van de kassaverkoopster en loop de supermarkt uit. So that is a little like recap of things that you can, basically go over. So that is pretty fun. All right, so I am now going to translate the sentences with you and go over each of the items. Okay, so this should be fairly easy. We have the ik ga naar, we know what supermarkt is, and met de auto, so with something. Now, common logic will probably tell you that this is your car, okay? So what this means is I go to the supermarket by car or with the car, okay? Then it says, ik neem een kratje mee in mijn portemonnee. Bit trick here. So name is to take with. Now, what do you take with or what do you bring with you? 2 things. One is to have something with you that you can store your groceries in, right? Common logic. So in our case, that's a kratje because in the US and in Australia, they usually grab or put things like for you in like bags, different types of bags, etc. In Nederland, that's not the case. We have to do our own groceries. We don't have someone putting them into a bag or anything. That's like too posh fancy for us, so we don't do that. We put our own groceries in our own not necessarily bags. Some people do that. Some people have those like strollers in the cities and blah blah blah. But most families most people who do groceries by car, they have like a crate, a little box that you can actually collapse and make and put it flat when you don't use it, but you can up and put the sides into it like a box, like a moving box, right? Kind of idea, but then made out of plastic, where we then put all of our groceries in. Super handy. You can carry it, boop, doop, doop, in your trolley, and then carry it over into the car. Super easy. Doesn't break. Very easy. We love it. And obviously, if you need to do groceries, you need to bring your wallet. So portemonnee is wallet, and that comes from the French word like portemonnaie as well. Different spelling though. Now, as I said before, we do need a trolley, so that's what this sentence is about. Karretje is a word that we usually use. There is actually another word that we use for a trolley. So you can say wagen or wagentje, which is relatable to wagon. And we then say winkelwagentje, so shop trolley or whatnot. And we have to get it, we have to grab it. That is pak. So it's not necessarily like packing, but it is kind of like packing, grabbing, getting something. Okay? Ik begin bij de groente- en fruitafdeling. Fruit, seems very reasonable. So if we talk about fruit, what could then groenten be if groen is also green? So we're talking about our grains, our vegetables here. So if we then start at the grains and fruit, what could this word be then? So obviously we've got different sections in the supermarket, different departments. So for us, the word afdeling is department. It's literally the same thing. Department is like different parts of the whole thing. So we have different delen, that we, put them off into. Okay. Ik doe wat banaan en sla in mijn karretje. Pretty sure you can do this. Might not be able to recognize sla right away. So sla, it looks like salad maybe, but we refer to the lettuce, so the leaves in the salads. Sla is lettuce, which then makes the sentence go into I do or I put some banana and lettuce in my trolley. So what is what? If we refer to like as a question word, but it can also mean some. So keep that in mind. So you can't say I do what banana. No, I do some banana. So if it's unclear how many bananas you put into your trolley, then you can use wat for some. Ook staat er vlees op mijn boodschappenlijstje. Okay, so for the word vlees, you can refer to the next sentence and look at these two, which might be a bit more recognizable for you. And think about which department this might be. Okay? Then for this really long word, we can look at the last bit, lijstje. Now, if you want to Englishify this, what does it sound like or seem like to you? List. Nou, knowing that we zijn in de supermarkt, we hebben een lijst. So, wat voor lijst is dit? Dit is een boodschappenlijst, aka grocery list. As you heard me said in the beginning, we are doing grocery shopping. So eventually this sentence makes also there is or there stands, we say, meat on my grocery list. Okay, I'll give you some time to translate this sentence, so pause it if you need to. And I'm going to translate it now. I walk to the meat department and do put chicken and fish in my trolley. Okay. Ook pak ik wat melk en yoghurt. Easy after translating this. So also I grab some milk and yogurt. It's not that hard, right? Then I go, dat is alles. So even if you remove the ES, you can so easily translate it. So that is all, that is everything. So if you want to say that, say this. All right. If this is everything that you need to get, what is your next step? Well, ik ga naar de kassa en reken af. We already had from the restaurant, which is to pay, or not necessarily to pay, but like to pay for the bill, right? Afrekenen comes from to calculate. So they're calculating the total, and that is what you have to pay. So if you want to pay your bill, you can say, ik wil afrekenen. And where do you pay the bill? At the kassa, bij de kassa. The kassa is the cashier desk. We refer to it as kassa. So I go to the cashier desk, and pay my groceries. Ik moet 30 euro betalen. This should be a sentence that you know by now. So moet is have to. So I have to pay 30 euros. All right. Stop mijn boodschappen in de kratjes. Refer to kratjes back here, what you brought along. And that should be helping you to put the sentence together. So I stop, or I do my groceries in the crates, in, where you put your groceries in. If you still use bags, you can say tasjes or tassen. And then lastly, the last step is ik krijg een bon van de kassaverkoopster en loop de supermarkt uit. Ik krijg een bon. So what do you get from the cashier verkoopster? So ik koop is I buy. Verkoop, as we had before, is to sell. So this is the cashier assistant, sales assistant, whatever you want to name it, but the person who stands and helps you at the cashier. And she'll give you your receipt, the bon, good, and walk out of the supermarket. So that is really important. Now, I'll upload separately a list of most common products of the supermarket, so you can have a look at that. And then I'd like you to write your own grocery list. Whatever is not on there and you will use this week for your groceries, I encourage you to feel free to still make your English one or whatever language you speak, but write your grocery list in Dutch. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be really helping you to get to know new products, especially because you will be eating them. And I encourage you, next time you're going to a supermarket, going over these steps, right? Make it a puzzle. Think about, okay, now I have to go to this apartment and I'm grabbing this and I put it into my carriage. And especially because you keep repeating the products that you want to grab and put into the carriage and, hit at the cashier desk, you will remember these products also more easily. It's so much fun to do. All right, so have a look at that, at the grocery list products type thingy. And then we'll go to our last couple of questions of today. So, wat staat er op jouw boodschappenlijst? Okay. So notice we don't say what is, we say what stands, because it's written on something. It's in writing. It stands on there. This is something that you just have to know and get used to. So usually we do translate is with is, but in some cases when things are on, in, somewhere, so it is recognizable with op, we refer to it as a placement verb. So the placement verbs are staan, stand, zitten, to sit, and liggen, to lie, like to lie down. We'll see this mostly with things in the household as well. Okay. Then, waar kan ik de melk vinden? Waar is de melk? En wat neem je mee naar de supermarkt? Name is bring or take. So pause this video as I will write down some answers. And again, encourage yourself to write down these sentences or say them as you go. Some examples could be op mijn boodschappenlijst, so on my grocery list, staat melk, kaas, boter en eieren, for example. De melk vind je op de zuivelafdeling. Zuivel is how we refer to dairy. You could also say de melk staat naast de yoghurt in rij 3. Whatever, so in row 3. Ik neem mijn moeder mee naar de supermarkt. Of ik neem mijn tas en portemonnee mee. With this one, we probably prefer to say, ik neem mijn moeder mee naar de supermarkt, because you bring your mom along and then add the location. You could perhaps say, ik neem mijn moeder naar de supermarkt mee, but because the mee is directly linked to what you're bringing, we want to place that directly after that object of bringing, right? So in this case, in the second example, you don't have to the supermarket, so you can just again put it directly after the object. So keep that in mind. That is why may is also directly here and not after naar de supermarkt. So even though it's part of a verb and should go last, in this case, it's more directly linked to either the subject or the direct object. Hopefully that makes sense. Now, you will find lots of exercises to practice as well, as the lives will go over them as well. This was your going to the supermarket lesson. Enjoy learning. I'm sure you've done great, and I'll see you soon. Doei!